flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open this meeting for comments from the public at this time. There being no comments, I'll close it at this time. You'll have a chance again at the end of the meeting. We have a bid result.
Yes, contract bid 2001-03. It was for a 200 amp generator and a 400 amp generator. Bid item 1 was $21,373. Bid item 2, which is the 400 amp, is $30,110. We only had one bidder, and that's William Murray from Plattsburgh.
We need a motion.
Make a motion, we accept the bids.
Have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Both of these bids came under what was estimation, and these bids are, I think it's 75% reimbursable from the federal government. This is a mitigation grant that we were given. So the cost to us is going to be about 25% of each of them. Any other discussion? All those in favor, vote by use of sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Minutes of the previous meeting.
Approve the minutes as read.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor, vote by use of sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Bills.
We don't have any additions or deletions tonight.
I make a motion, we accept the bills as printed.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor, vote by use of sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Correspondence.
First piece of correspondence you have is from Time Warner Cable. I believe that all customers got this letter at their residence. It's, I'll just read a little bit of it. I wanted you to be aware that we are notifying customers of exciting changes and available cable packages and lineups taking effect August 1st, 2001. There is a rate change and the new channels are attached. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to contact their local representatives. Anything you want to add to that?
No, only that I met with Henry Pearl, the new manager or vice president of Time Warner in this area. Young man, he's originally from Plattsburgh. He seems a lot more receptive than the other managers. At least he's listening to us. Took him for a tour today, showed him what I'd like to have seen done. I understand they're going to start tomorrow. So that was some good news. We still haven't signed a contract, and they're going to have to work it out with our lawyer. Okay, thanks, Ben.
Next piece of correspondence you have was received certified return receipt. It's from JB's notifying the clerk of their intention to renew their alcoholic beverage control retail license. There's no action required on this. This is just a requirement that has to be done. The next piece of correspondence is from Plattsburgh State University. It's addressed to the mayor. We are in the process of arranging planning projects to work on next year and are writing to inquire if you have any such projects in which we could be of assistance. This could take the form of a student project at no cost or as a consulting contract for a modest fee, depending upon the nature of the request. This is from Dr. Lamb. There's a listing of things. Would you like me to read the listing of projects he suggests?
Yeah, for the public, I think we
Okay. Updating a zoning law and or comprehensive plan, researching a local planning or zoning issue, preparing a zoning law and comprehensive plan for the first time, preparing other land use regulations such as the junk law, subdivision regulations, revising zoning map, town-based map with lot lines, preparing page size maps for handout, preparing citizen questionnaire surveys, collecting environmental information for a site, environmental impact studies, collecting information for grant applications, data collection and analysis.
Okay.
Would you like me to pass this along to the zoning board?
Yeah, I think maybe they should be advised with their, but just in case they're looking to either update or do something.
And could you also share that with Paul when you come back?
Sure. And that's all the correspondence that we have.
Okay, report of mayor and trustees. It's a light evening. I have just a couple of things on my agenda tonight. One, July 7th and 8th is the Rouses Point 4th of July Festival. There's going to be live entertainment Saturday from 5 to 7 by Larry Ebert. And from 7 to 8, the community choir. 8 to 12, South Junction. And that's not down in Plattsburgh, that's in Rouses Point. That's a band, by the way. Also, there's a South Junction in Plattsburgh. Sunday, the Flashbacks and the Martin Entertainment and Karaoke. And then, of course, the parade at 7 o'clock. Chicken barbecue. Please, support it. If you want it to continue, you're going to have to support it. Also, Saturday, July 7th, at the elementary school grounds, sponsored by the Northern Tier Chamber of Commerce, is the Kelly Miller Circus. They could use some support there, too. It's for their projects. So, look and see the elephants. And the only other thing I have on the agenda, or it's not on the agenda, was that I attended a news conference today by Congressman McHugh in Plattsburgh. Last Thursday introduced legislation for rural economic development. And he started off with his talk by saying that, you know, we have read all the newspaper reports how the country has enjoyed immensely large economic development turn, except this part of the country, the rural area. So this bill is to help. He addressed 4 major issues. One is agriculture, tourism, digital access in this area so that corporations can have high-speed internet service and this type of new technology, and training. Try to keep our young people here. Of course, he's like any legislation, depending on what takes place, how Congress looks at it. I think they've asked for a $350 million package to help this along. So hopefully it'll go through. He has gone with bipartisan support. I understand that Senator Clinton has introduced it in the Senate. So it was a shot in the arm, I guess, for most everybody was looking at it as a shot in the arm. Hope it happens. And that's my report for this evening. Trustee Menard.
My first item on my agenda tonight is I'd like to make a motion to authorize the clerk public legal notice to go out to bid for switches for the South End Electric.
Need a second? I got a motion made and seconded. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor of vote, use the sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
My second item is the discussion on the MEUA annual conference, which will be held on August 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st in Niagara Falls, New York. We usually attend this. I don't know if any of the board members are interested in going, but I'd like to make a motion that we send at least 2 delegates. And usually George and Bobby go, if anyone on the board
I'll second that.
would like to go. I also like to amend that, that George be our delegate at this annual conference, so that he can sign for the vote.
I'll second that.
Got a motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Why don't you leave that open, just in case some of the board
At
members,
least-
set up to, leave it open, so in case some of the board members do want to go. And then I give them time to decide. That's not till the end of next month. So,
I believe it said you had to be in by July 7th or something.
Is it July 7th?
July 27th.
And we got another meeting in between.
Right. No later.
Any other discussion? There being no other discussion, all those in favor, vote by use of sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
And my next item is, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the clerk to get quotes for demolition of buildings at 50 Rose Avenue.
Second.
Got a motion made, seconded, any discussion? Will that be including, Bobby, to remove the junk cars too?
It will be. I spoke to the lawyer today, and I already gave him information on that.
Very good.
Never received any response, so he says, go ahead, include that.
Very good. Any other discussion? All those in favor, vote by use of sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
And my last item is I would just like to wish everyone a happy 4th of July, and hopefully everyone will get out and support the fire department and they're doing. And that's all I have.
Thank you, trustee Menard. Trustee Huckrow.
Item number 1, I respectfully request an executive session to discuss elected department personnel.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, roll call vote. Trustee Menard.
Aye.
Trustee Huckrow.
Aye.
Trustee Penfield.
Aye.
Trustee Jefferson.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye.
Next, you have a couple of certificates, one for Brian Delano, one for Dave Supranat, and your folders that they attended a water conference over at Canton. Congratulations to them for attending, we appreciate it, it helps. Next one is I request authorization for the Justice and Court Clerk to travel for a conference. This is an annual conference. It's in their budget. Put that in the motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, any discussion?
I have a question, actually. Is there a reason, John, do you know why they'll each be driving separately?
I don't know whether they're driving separately. You bet?
That was discussed in the office today, while we were at another meeting, but it was already brought up. And I know that the judge was contacted. I don't know what his answer was, but I will let you know.
Do you want to put a stipulation on that?
I would just be curious to know why, if we're sending them, at the same time on the same day.
Is it overnight or just?
Yes.
It is, but their return date, I believe departure and return dates are both the same. I was just curious to see why, if we're going to pay mileage, if there's a reason why they couldn't possibly ride together.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
We'll check that out.
That would be great, thank you.
Do we want to approve this on that
You want to approve
condition?
it?
Because when is this? It's got, yeah,
It's coming up pretty fast.
yeah.
Maybe somebody's gonna get out of town, and they're just gonna travel around town.
Perhaps,
on
yeah.
vacation or
Could
something.
be all kinds of.
I
We
mean,
need
it
to
could
do
be-
this evening though, right?
Yeah,
For
we
the
do.
dates, yeah. I think we can go ahead and approve it. I would just,
Okay, but we'll get it.
would like to ask them if it's at all possible.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't answer it. Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, vote by the use of sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, Doug, do you have an update on water project, and also, I guess you have something on zebra mussels?
Yes, on the water projects, I just have two things to report on tonight. One is on the zebra mussel project that we started a couple of weeks ago. This week, starting tomorrow, we'll be back in the water, finishing the connections to the intake. And the DPW street crew has come in and excavated a trench for us to make the connection through the building. So we'll be finishing that this week. Then also on the zebra mussel front, we were working with the Army Corps of Engineers last week at Georgia Pacific, and those people are interested in evaluating our sparker and its impact on zebra mussels in Rouses Point. That was something we were going to be doing as part of a paper for this October's International Zebra Mussel Conference, but now the Corps of Engineers is going to come in and take a look at what we're doing. They'll be here next Monday and Tuesday. I've already informed the water plant operator, and we'll be installing some testing samples within the pipeline. And then in September, we'll pull those samples out, and we'll be installing a hydrophone, basically an underwater microphone, which will then determine the actual sound, the power of the sound in the pipeline as you proceed from the sparker out to the intake. So between the effects on the samples and the sound chart, we should have an idea, a pretty good idea of what exactly the sparker is or isn't doing. Any questions?
Interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. You should have before you a letter from ORIC, in which we're requesting you to authorize the proposed clerk to publish legal notice on serial bonds for the water system improvements, basically building the water tower, and the pipe that goes along with that. And I'll move that to the floor.
Second.
I have a second. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
You also should have in front of you a letter from the Department of Health indicating the results of performance of the water system. And basically, we're in good shape. The things that aren't corrected, we know aren't corrected, and that's why we're building a new water tower. Don't need the action on that, I guess.
I thought their comment at the end was very nice, stating that
We're in good shape.
yeah, the water plant was run very, very well run, maintenance-wise and cleanliness.
If anyone here has not been in the water plant, you should take a minute and go in sometime and just look at the place. You get it off the floor with no hesitation. It's very, very well run. I should have a water plant work report from Gary. And also another certificate for Gary from the New York Rural Water Association. He attended the 22nd annual conference. Put a lot of hours on that. I can't remember how many hours, but he had like 8 hours on one thing and 13 hours on another. Some certificate someplace. We got a lot of mileage out of that one. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Huckrow. Trustee Penfield.
I went ahead with what we talked about at the last meeting in terms of the committee for the grocery store. The first meeting of the committee is going to be on Monday, next Monday the 9th, 1 week from tonight at 6:30 here at the Civic Center. What I'm trying to do now in anticipation of that meeting is to put together a list of contacts that we have made so far, based on phone calls or letters or whatever has been done, so that we can let people know at that particular meeting who exactly has been contacted. I've spoken with a couple of people who are interested in being on the committee. One of them has given me a list of names of other people to consider, so we're going to make some phone calls this week. But I would also just say that anyone who's interested, if you see anyone or hear from them, or Deb, if you receive any phone calls, they're welcome certainly to come to the meeting. I've made a contact again with Pomerleau about the facility because there were some rumors going around the community that it had been rented already or leased already for whatever purpose, and as of today, that's not the case. It is still available, so that's something to kind of reassure people with. The other contact I made was to the Conference of Mayors to see whether or not there's anything that we as a village can do in addition to what we're already doing. Something that could come out of this committee, or something that the board could, some action that we could take, or also any experience that they might have with a community in the past who's dealt with this particular issue. And they are supposed to get back to me sometime this week. It's a little bit difficult with schedules around the 4th of July, but they did say that they would try to get back to me sometime this week if they could. So we'll have that information for Monday night's meeting. So again, I would encourage anyone that you run into that you think might be interested to let them know, and anyone who is interested in attending Monday night at 6:30 on the 9th.
That it?
That's it.
Thank you, trustee Penfield. Trustee Jefferson?
Do you want us to give an update on the sewer, or first before we start? I was
Yeah.
down there today, and
Well, on the sewer plant, I've got nothing new to report. However, I will call the design engineer tomorrow.
I was down and talking to Tom Reed today, and we, a couple things. We're still monitoring the level of a heavy metal in the sludge, or in the samples, so we're keeping an eye on that. We're gonna be checking on it every week. That's really the only thing that's going on at the sewer plant right now. There's no other problems. Tommy Reed did attend the Rural Water Association Conference, and I just want to recognize that, May 20th through the 23rd. We went with Gary Malinsky, so we thank him for going for that. It was good for the village. Everything else, the sewer plant, we're kind of on hold. There's a few other things that are coming up, but we're in transition period right now. And the only other thing I have is, again, I just wanted to say about the 4th of July parade. We're still looking for entries for the parade. We'll take them right up till the time of the parade. Starts at 7 o'clock, so anytime around 5 or 6 o'clock, if you come down to the fire station, we'll direct you into Delagar's or up on Barnes Street. So if you're thinking about putting an entry in for the parade, we'd love to have you. And that's all I have to report tonight.
Thank you, trustee Jefferson. Madam Clerk?
The only thing that I have to report is that we finally have a date for the closing on our senior housing, which is July 18th.
Amen, amen.
Yes. I don't anticipate any problems, and this is the first time that we have a date and everything seems to be fine. So that's a very good sign. That's all I have.
Arsen?
Just want to report that today was the last day to pay your taxes without a penalty. You start with 5% tomorrow.
Thank you. Chief?
I'd just like to report that, excuse me, Patrolman Aaron LaFave has successfully completed the Division of Criminal Justice Service Bike Academy. So he's now a certified bicycle patrol officer, which keeps us in compliance with the state grant that we had received. So you will probably see him out in that on the bike doing some patrolling. He rode almost 100 miles last week during that academy, so he's walking a little slow this week, so if you happen to spot him, you can be a little sarcastic if you want. John Mott has completed the docks at the boat launch and the one for the Sheriff Patrol in the back of the station, and I'd like to compliment John. Fantastic job. He did a beautiful job on those docks, and just fantastic. Yes, yes. I'd like the board to approve, either the clerk or myself, write a thank you letter to Dennis Richards and thank him for allowing the Sheriff Patrol to keep his boat at his facility, waiting for this dock to be put in. I thought that was very, very nice of Dennis to do that, and he did it for us. It was the Sheriff Patrol kept their boat there, but he did that for us. And I'd like to send him a letter of thank you. Either I can do it or Bev can do it. And as for this weekend, we're all set as far as my department's concerned for this weekend. We hope everybody comes out and supports the village, and everybody has a very safe and happy 4th of July weekend. And that's all that I have.
Thank you, Bob. Bert Simpson, Bobby?
Yes, George. I have some questions for the board. What are we going to do with our engineer? This sewer plant roof is not done. It should have been up and running. We have nothing done with this outfit. This guy is dragging his feet. We're going to be a year behind. We need to get some action from this guy. This has gone too long. We've been fighting for this for over 2 years. Now this guy should have had this stuff, at least this roof, on the go by now.
I talked to Doug tonight, Bob.
I know, but you guys have got to make a decision on this.
He's going to take a trip to Canton this week. And when he comes back and says, as far as I'm concerned, if he's not going to do it, then we're going to find another engineer. Because we should have been out to bid for this water tank 1st of June.
Exactly.
And there's nothing.
There's
The
nothing
roof on the sewer plant should have been started by now. Because they'll be up there freezing their fingers putting that thing on.
The other thing we need to get that paper from Eris, we can't even do our substation.
Well,
Without
did you
that.
see the letter that was sent from Bernay?
Did we?
Well, from Tom Renane to him, asking him to.
And I I promise you, I'll get a hold of, I was gonna do it today, but I didn't have time. Whatchamacallit, from Eris and see what's happening, because he did call him.
That puts everything a year behind time. You know, here's our working season gone to hell. We don't have those things. We can't do nothing on that sub. We can't dig, we don't own the property. I mean, those footings should have been in by fall. They should have been done, and my guys should have been working on those through the winter. If we lose a transformer in this village, Eris is going to have to shut down. I want you people to realize that. We cannot sustain their load if we lose one transformer. We're way over our capacity right now. You know we're pumping about 23 megs. We're a 30 meg station. If we lose one transformer, they're going to have to shut down. Unless you want the residents, and I'm sure you're not going to let the residents go without power. So we need to get these issues going. I mean, this transformer for that substation should have been with these things we're going out to bid with tonight, and it's not. I mean, it's 9 months to get a transformer.
I'm going to try to schedule a meeting with Eris tomorrow.
If you could get that going, George, please, it really start things off here halfway
I
decent.
mean, all of it, our end is done. The paperwork is all done, it's all Eris has to do is sign it, and we're in business.
I bet you if you told Eris you had to shut down for days,
Well, that's
so
exactly
Maybe
what I'm
that should
going
be
to
energy too.
that's millions of dollars, so it'd be better if we kept them online and,
They're going to be crying to you, because if we lose one, they're the first ones off, I'm telling you.
yep, well,
The residents are going to be there.
Is that all you got tonight, is boom and
That's it.
boom?
Bart,
Okay, Bob. Anything else?
That's it. George.
Thank you, Bob.
Nothing else.
Doug?
Nothing.
All right. Anybody else want to address the board at this time? Open the meeting to the public. Not in that case, we're ready for recess.
I move we recess.